In the eerie, humid stillness of northern Australia's mangrove swamps, the film opens on black water, a desolate, ink-dark pond teeming with unseen dangers. Grace, her husband Adam, and her younger sister Lee are enjoying a vacation, visiting a local crocodile park to marvel at the prehistoric predators from the safety of galvanized steel fences. Eager for adventure, they plan a fishing trip to the same remote pond the following day, unaware that the boundary between spectator and prey is about to vanish. The next morning, they arrive at the water's edge and are met by a local guard equipped with a small, sturdy boat. As they navigate the vast forested waters, the scenery is a claustrophobic maze of tangled roots and gray light. The guard, trying to provide a sense of security, mentions that his boss is nearby with another tour group. He also reveals a handgun tucked away for protection, a sobering reminder of the local crocodile's dominance. During the quiet journey, Grace shares a life-altering secret with Lee. She is pregnant. She's waiting for the perfect, peaceful moment to tell Adam, imagining a future far removed from this swamp. Deep within the forest, the group stops to fish. The initial silence is peaceful, but after a failed attempt at one spot, they move further into the shadows. Suddenly, something heavy hooks the line. Before they can celebrate, the boat violently shakes and capsizes, throwing everyone into the murky water. It wasn't a fish that struck them, it was a massive crocodile. Panic erupts. Adam manages to haul a terrified Grace onto the sturdy branches of a large mangrove tree. As he dives back into the water to search for Lee, the crocodile surfaces. Grace watches in paralyzed horror as the predator kills the guard in a flurry of white water and red foam. The beast immediately turns its predatory gaze toward Adam. Grace screams, and Adam narrowly manages to scramble up the tree beside her. Lee, meanwhile, emerges from under the overturned boat. As the crocodile closes in, Grace yells for her to climb atop the hull. The crocodile violently strikes and shakes the vessel, trying to dislodge her, but Lee clings on with white-knuckled desperation. To save her, Adam begins splashing the water and shouting to divert the predator's attention. The distraction works. The crocodile eventually submerges, dragging the guard's body into the depths. Seizing the brief window of safety, they beg Lee to throw them a rope so they can pull the boat to the tree, but the vessel is wedged tight. Despite her paralyzing fear, Lee realizes she cannot stay on the boat alone. She swims the short, harrowing distance to the tree and climbs up. Though she is safe for the moment, her foot is badly injured. They decide to wait for the guard's boss to find them, but the hours tick by in agonizing silence, punctuated only by the sight of the crocodile's snout circling the tree like a shark. As the sun begins to set, the reality of their situation sinks in. Adam suggests swimming out to fix and flip the boat, but the women refuse, fearing another attack. They shout for help until their voices crack, but the swamp swallows the sound. Mosquitoes swarm their exposed skin, and their only phone is uselessly water-damaged. Grace attempts to scout a path through the canopy, but she finds a 100-meter gap in the trees that would require a long, exposed swim. She returns defeated, her spirit breaking further when she spots the guard's severed ear floating in the stagnant water nearby. Lee holds her as they spend a terrifying night in the dark, forced to listen to the predator consuming Adam's body just yards away. By morning, the trauma has nearly broken Grace. Lee, finding a reserve of strength, encourages her sister to survive for the sake of the baby. They notice the boat has drifted further away, forcing them back into the lethal water. During the attempt to reach it, the crocodile strikes again, mangling Grace's leg. Lee manages to fight the creature off long enough to pull Grace back to a tree, where she uses torn clothing to create a makeshift bandage for the deep, pulsing wounds. When a passing boat in the distance fails to hear their cries, Lee realizes Grace will bleed to death if they stay. She must swim for the boat alone. Lee reaches the boat and begins frantically bailing out water. The noise of the engine, however, acts as a dinner bell. The crocodile lunges onto the vessel, its weight nearly sinking it again, forcing Lee to leap back into the water. In the struggle, Lee is pulled under. She eventually loses consciousness and wakes up washed onto a muddy shore near the guard's mangled remains. Her body is a map of agony. Her finger is broken, and her abdomen is covered in deep, jagged gashes from the crocodile's teeth. Fueled by pure adrenaline, Lee remembers the guard's gun. She crawls to his body, finds the weapon, and painstakingly cleans the mud and blood from it with water. She loads the bullets, her hands shaking, and fires a test shot into the air. The crack of the gunfire confirms it works. In a chillingly calculated move, Lee realizes the crocodile won't come out unless it thinks it has an easy kill. She breaks the guard's arm and begins splashing it in the water, using the scent and sound to lure the monster. She waits, scanning the reeds. The crocodile remains hidden. Lee stands up, her back to the water, unaware the beast has already circled behind her. Sensing a shift in the air, she spins around to see the massive head rising from the swamp. She lunges back into the water, terrified. The crocodile chases her, disappearing beneath the surface. Lee stops, standing waist deep, searching the murky depths. Suddenly, the creature explodes from the water, clamping its jaws onto her hand. Despite the searing pain and the force of the animal trying to drag her down, Lee presses the barrel of the gun against the crocodile's head and pulls the trigger. The beast dies instantly. Relieved and exhausted, Lee returns to the tree where she left Grace. She calls out, telling her sister they are free, that she has killed the monster, but Grace does not respond. Lee tries to wake her, but Grace's skin is cold. She has succumbed to blood loss. The joy of survival vanishes, replaced by a hollow, soul-crushing despair. Lee weeps over her sister's body before gathering her strength one last time. She carries Grace to the boat and begins to row away from the black water. As she disappears into the distance, this harrowing true story comes to a somber, silent end.